The Instructor podcast with Terry Cook, talking with leaders, innovators, experts and game changers about what drives them.
Welcome to the Instructor podcast. This is a show that helps you become an even more awesome driving instructor. And as always, I am your mediocre host, Terry Cook. And I'm delighted to be here, but even more delighted that you have chosen to listen, because today we are wrapping up season 9, talking all things TikTok. And who better to join me than the face and brains behind the first car social media, Keenan LA. So if you're looking to grow your driving school social media, this is the episode for you, as Keenan explains where to start, how to go viral, and how to find the balance between clickbait and useful content. And I'm delighted to have this technology season sponsored by My Drive Time, the industry's premium award-winning business management app. Find out more at mydrivetime.co.uk. And if you're enjoying these episodes, make sure you subscribe to the Instructor Podcast email and WhatsApp channel. You can find links in the show notes or on the website. But for now, let's get stuck into the show. So I am now joined by Keenan LA. Now, Keenan, welcome to the show. Your first time on the Instructor Podcast.
Thank you very much, Terry. Great to be here.
No, delighted to have you on, because I saw you in person doing a presentation at the Young Driver Focus this year in 2024, and I'd seen you previously on the social media, TikTok and Reels and all that kind of stuff that I'm not very good at. And it was when I saw you in person, that Young Driver Focus, that I was really impressed, because it was hearing you talk about the reasons why you do the things you do. It was like, right, okay. Because you don't always see the method behind the madness. So at that point, I decided I need Keenan on the show. And it was, where do I fit him in? And it's during this tech season. This is technology. It's modern technology. So yeah, big thank you for joining us. But you're, as we say, you're kind of the face almost of First Car. You do some of the videos for The Honest Truth. But for those that don't know, do you want to just tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about what you do?
Sweet. Yeah, sure. So I moved to London when I was 18 to be an actor. That's always been the dream, still is. I actually am, I think I've realised, and I'm living the dream. I'm an actor in London, performing. It then became presenting work actually instantly. I've told this to a lot of people, but very quickly. My first audition ever in London was with First Car, and it was a presenting gig to present road safety videos for an insurance company. Uses a black box. So if they brake too harshly, a video of me will pop up going, "Hey, don't brake too harshly. Try this instead." And that was the first job. And then First Car just kept coming back. I must have done really well the first time, so they wanted me back more and more, and I loved it. I earned so much experience and learned so much with them. Especially, it was like a small group of people. And at that time as well, they sent me the script and I would read the script. So it wasn't really me going, "Yeah, I love road safety. Yeah, I want to be part of it." It was when time went on, and it was on my 4th, 5th, 6th First Car shoot. And I was, really making movements and spaces, and people would recognize me or getting invited to events, all that sort of stuff. I realized, hey, this is really cool. Especially it happened at the same time where I passed my driving tests and got my own car and was driving to London from Coventry, where I grew up, and doing all these things at the same time I was learning all these road safety tips. And it was a nice, in the space of like 6-7 months, I went from living in Coventry, wondering what to do, don't know what I'm going to do with no job, to go, I'm in London driving with my brand new car and I'm acting and doing everything. So as you said, as I like to tell people, learning to drive, which I presume for yourself, as you do as an ADI, learning to drive is like that proper next step into adulthood. It's the first test you take where if you don't pass, you might actually hurt people. You can fail your maths test and you're going to be all right. You can retake it. You can fail your English test. You'll be all right. You can retake it. No one's going to get hurt. Maybe your future, maybe, but also whatever. But with driving, it's the first time ever you've been an actual adult and you have to put other people's lives in perspective and in your hands, both people in your car or the people on the roads and, with vulnerable road users. So I think it was at that time where I was learning all that at the same time as doing it. And the passion started to grow from there, to the point where in COVID, where all my other work, all acting work was stopped, all First Car work had stopped, I was sitting going, I need to do something, self-employed life. I can't just not have money. Everyone had furlough for a good bit. But, for a lot of self-employed, it was like, what? That's it. No money. And rent was still coming. Then I thought, well, I'm chronically online, the Gen Z in me. I'm always on TikTok. I'm always scrolling. How about I use my media training, which I did in A-level, and make TikToks, road safety TikToks for First Car. Whoa. So I made this massive plan. I wrote about 4,000 words explaining what TikTok is to James Evans from First Car, which, one of the smartest guys I've ever worked with, love him to bits. I owe a lot to him for being in this space. But, his one caveat is he's not Gen Z. So I was like, no, I know what TikTok is. Let me help you. And I wrote loads of scripts as well, all on the back, all of me just basically going, oh, please let me do this. And naturally, first car was like, oh, yes, please, let's do this. And it started to grow from there. It was more of a passion project, sort of helping me out. And it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where James, like, first car altogether was like, this is great. Let's make road safety TikToks, especially in a space where TikTok, there's just so much content, so many content creators, so much is going on. It is a ever-flowing river of everything.
Well, there's loads of stuff I want to touch back on there, but it's an interesting point you said, like you started that initial work with first car sort of around the time you passed your driving test. And I'm keen to ask you this because I know as driving instructors, most of us, when we become instructors, we don't necessarily become instructors to make the road a safer place. Road safety isn't the forefront of us brain, it's the other stuff. And then that evolves as we go along. So I'm wondering, that initial work with first car, did that change your approach to driving?
Nice. Yeah, definitely, for sure. I think when we first started, it was like in the scripts, I would learn a fact or a statistic. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Just naturally probably goes subconsciously where now I'm not even thinking about it. I just know not to do these things because of what I said back when. I know the severity of it. And then as time went on, definitely for sure, I found myself going, oh, it's sort of my brand now. It is, as much as it should be everyone's thing anyway, but definitely much more emboldened and strengthened, had the foundations of like, look, I am teaching people or helping people to become safer on the roads. Of course, I'm going to follow everything I'm doing and actually have this nice pride about it as well. And I really enjoy the idea that I'm the safest on the road, or like I'm not doing that, or I'm keeping to the speed limit. And it feels a lot better and safer. I enjoy it a lot more because of that, because I know that I'm doing everything I am doing everything I can to stay safe on the road. But yeah, for sure, working with first cars opened my eyes to a lot of things. I have the benefit of knowing how severe collisions are, or KSIs, or anything like that, without ever having to be in one. Because it's usually like, the bad boy racers and all those, whoever they are, the demographic people, the younger drivers basically, are a lot more, it doesn't matter. As soon as something really bad happens, then it matters the most to them. And at that point, obviously, it's too late. That's what I try and teach people. I'm always the guy, always more helping my friends. I'm like, excuse me, I'm the guy like, seatbelts on, make sure seatbelts on, we're not moving. No, what's that? What are you doing?
I like it. But I mean, look, that first car account is one of the few that I recommend to learners because I do think it's done well, and we'll maybe come back sort of that in more detail later. But I want to ask you around the content, because you said before that social media aspect was kind of your baby, if you like. Is that the thing you're in charge of? Do you make the bulk of the content? Is it a collaboration? Do you get ideas from elsewhere?
Nice. So for the longest time, it was all the ideas would come to me. I'd figure them out, write loads of scripts or loads of headlines, video titles, shall we say, and then I'd write the scripts after. And still pretty much for that, it's still me. And then for the first 2 years, it was just completely me. I'd write it all, edit it all, produce it all, film it all, act it all of the above, all together. And then I'd send it to First Car to be confirmed. They'd be like, can you change this? Especially in the scripts. Like, could you maybe can't say that, or there's probably a better way to say this. Of course, got a bit of regulation. And then, and now as time's gone on, we're getting a lot more people involved, and it's getting a lot bigger. We're trying to push it a bit more and getting other road safety partnerships in. And with that comes a lot more bureaucracy, I suppose is the term. We've got a lot more people checking, which is sweet. It's keeping me on my toes. I'll write a whole script going, that's wicked. They'll love that. And they go, well, actually, no, we can't say that because of this. And make sure can we say it like this? I'm like, oh, do you know what? Yeah, you're absolutely right. And so now the process is First Car. I call it the science. There's so much that I can't act like I definitely know about. There's like ways you can teach people or help people or guide people, especially in road safety, to make them come to their own conclusions, however it is, all the science behind it. So First Car have now implemented a lot more heavy science-backed, research-backed ways or topics or, ways to help teach people things. And I implement that in my scripts because there's the whole ballpark of making the content. And then there's the other ballpark of making content that will hopefully go viral and is more engaging. Especially with road safety, those two things don't really combine. There's not like, oh, who's the most famous road safety content creator, influencer in the world. It's not really a thing that people are going, oh yeah, sweet. Did you see the way he stops and used his brakes? Oh, so it's a tough mountain to climb, but people still do it. I commend, especially in the driving instructor space for sure. They've figured out, ways to create content, make it engaging, hooking, and, viral.
I love that. And again, a couple of things I want to touch back on because it interested me that the difference in expertise, like one of the things you said there was you're not the expert in the science, but you know how to make things go viral. You know the social media side. And I don't think, and I'd be interested in your thoughts on this, because I don't think enough people put those things together. I think that a lot of people will see, we'll use instructors as an example, or use me as an example. I'm a driving instructor, therefore I can now go and do social media. I don't need any help from anyone because I can go and talk about how to change gear. But it doesn't work like that because I'm not an expert in how to create social media. Do you see that problem occurring where the experts think that because they're an expert in one thing, they're an expert in everything?
Not necessarily a problem or an issue. It's a case of anyone who wants to be a content creator, whatever your expertise, and you don't even necessarily have to be an expert in it. A lot of these people are the most famous people in the world. Weren't anything. They were literally, I want to be a streamer, and then they become the expert because they've been doing it for so long. It'd be the case for anyone, my position, your position. You just keep going, and because it's an ever-flowing river of content now on these scrolling, reels and social TikTok and stuff, it's a case of just keep going, keep pushing, keep putting your own little pebble in the river, and hopefully it floats, hopefully it gets engaged and viral. And slowly but surely, you'll start getting a bit more views, a bit more traction. You'll have that random one video that goes really viral. Like, what, this video? Out of all the videos, the one I didn't really, think that much about is, oh yeah, that'll be all right. It's now my most viral video of the month. Okay, crazy. And then and then it's a case of, how do you learn the lessons from that video? What made it viral? Was it the title? Was it the content? Was it the person? Was it just, again, I think a lot of it's based on luck. You've got to have the decent content and something that's engaging. But with the way TikTok works, it batch releases to a certain set of people. And depending on how many people have that batch like it or engage with it or view it, it will then send it to a bigger batch or maybe a smaller batch. You could get a batch of 100 people that love or learning to drive just by chance. And just like that, that video became viral. It could be luck. There's a lot of stuff adds into it. So the idea of being an expert before, or like being an expert before you start posting is sweet, amazing. Post about that thing you're an expert in, but you'll only learn how to be better at social media by doing it and keep going and keep going. There's probably stuff that someone could post something today that I've never done and I could learn from it just because that's what they managed to figure out. It's very malleable, very nuanced.
I think I'm more thinking of the help you can get, the learning we can have, because you spoke before about your media training that you did at university. And when I started this podcast, I went and spoke to some people that I knew was kind of fairly prominent podcasters and in this industry. So, okay, how can I get the best possible start with this? And there's nothing wrong, in my opinion at least, of just going and making a start. Not asking for any help, just going and doing your thing. But I think that learners come to us to help them learn to drive. I could come to you to help me create this content. Essentially, that's what I'm doing today. Listeners, even if they just listen to this episode, hopefully they'll get some good ideas on how to start. But just kind of from a purely personal curiosity perspective, I want to check on something you said because it amused me slightly. Did you say you often will get the title for something and then create the script following you've got the title?
Yes, absolutely. So I will have a title writing session where all I would do is hopefully the ideas are floating in the whatever space, either dimension, and they'll come into my mind. Oh, that's a good one. Top 3 tips to learning to drive in the city centre. Or next thing I'll be like, oh, a funny one where it's, what is this? It's a seatbelt. And then that's the video. One of those silly things like that. And then something else will come in. It's like, oh, what to do an anxiety with roundabouts, how to overcome that. And I'll just keep doing just titles, not scripts, just titles, ideas. And next thing you have like 50, 100 video titles. And then it's a case of when it's time to write a script, go back to that and be like, oh, what can I take from here? Oh, I like that one. Let's write that title. Let's write that script, excuse me. And then it's a case of you can even combine 2, 3 different videos into one or video titles. That's just one creative process of it. Another one I loved, I used to do a lot, was when I was driving. Was like just make notes of something that happens that's relatable. Back when I was doing a lot more relatable content and the more funny stuff, probably more likely to go a bit engaged, a bit more viral. It's like when you drive and there's a police car drives past you and it's I've now suddenly got a driving instructor in the car and I'm doing all my checks and doing everything. That sort of funny things. Like why you were driving fine before, but our brain goes into just in case they're watching me. Again, just relatable stuff like that. That would happen usually when I'm driving. So what I'd have to do is call a friend, or if ever I'd stop or pause. There's those different ways that quickly repeat the video idea in my mind. Okay, I'm going to be stopping in 5 minutes. Just remember this. So when I park up and be like, quick, my notes. So I have like a notes on my phone from like after driving, like writing down video ideas. Quick. There are so many that I've forgotten, and I'll park. And I remember I had a really good idea. I have no idea what the idea was. So it's a case of just keeping your mind open, no matter where you are. Hey, this would be good content potentially. This might be a good video potentially.
Your creative process sounds remarkably similar to mine.
Nice.
I've got to a point now where I'm putting 90 minutes between my driving lessons because of the number of times I need to pull up and jot those ideas
Yeah.
down in between.
Yeah.
But can you touch on there about the more relatable content and the road safety content, if you like? And I think this is quite a big question, but I'm really interested in your thoughts on it. And it's, how do we create, I've even wrote this one down, so I'll say it properly. How do we create engaging content that gets eyeballs, but isn't either clickbait or misinformation?
Nice. It's usually the first milliseconds of a video on TikTok, Instagram Reels, the ever-flowing river, the scrolling type ones. You've got to hook them straight away and have their eyes see something they've not really seen before. That's always what every single video I do, I will make sure, look, what has this got that I've never seen in a video before? Try and push myself. I think too much of anything is bad, and probably at times where I'm really trying to push the envelope, it might be like, bring it back to its basics, which I've started to do recently. I've had some advice and tips from friends, comments. So it's like, yeah, just so much is going on in the screen. And in my head, it's like, yeah, because no one's ever done this before. It's like, yeah, maybe for a reason. And I've done it before. But it's always do more and then figure out what out of that works and take a bit off each time. Don't have massive subtitles, maybe smaller subtitles because people can see the content. It's about trying new things each time, figure out what works. And as soon as something works and goes viral, what can you learn from that? What can you take from that? Oh, so for example, our most viral video this year, I had the title come on screen, covering my face completely as I was saying it. Something I've not done before, something that you would argue. Like previously, my rules were don't cover your face, don't cover the person's face as they're speaking. They want, people like to see someone's eyes when they're speaking. But by doing that, for some reason, it became viral and it worked for that moment. So my lesson learned from that was, cover my face every time when I speak. And then after a while, when that didn't work, it's like, okay, back to the drawing board. What else works? Figure it out. Just something new. It's called the something I mentioned in the Young Drivers Forum, the Kaizen approach, which is what the company Toyota, I think, implements, some others as well. The idea of very small implementable changes to your company, your business in this idea, our content, just to see what works and learn from it. That little bit that worked. Oh, a longer video worked this time, so maybe we'll try a bit longer videos for the next month. Or this color, the green colors for the subtitles work. Maybe that was the thing. The content over braking harshly, that was really nice this time. These small little things just take like a little stepping ladder, just grow. You don't want to spend all your time on one big video and it's a minute long and you've put so much time and effort and energy in it and you love it and it's your passion. Like, this is the video that's going to make me, I'm going to get 100,000 followers from this, and you post it and 300 people see it. You get 4 likes and you're like, why does everybody hate me? It's okay. I'm fine about it. You've got to not get your hopes up in this game for sure, because it is similar to acting. In my acting life, it's rejection all the time. People apply for jobs once a year, maybe, if you're getting a job once a year. But for acting, it's applying for jobs every week, getting said no, getting rejected for a job every week. And that's not, you have to develop a thick skin for that. And it's the same for content creation. Post what you love, make sure you love it, of course, and it's great video, great content, but do not worry, do not care. It's weird, but don't care if it doesn't go viral, because it's okay, because you can try again. It could be the same video. I've had videos where I just changed the first 5 seconds, reposted it in a couple of months. Boom, the most viral video of that week. And it's the same video that got nothing before. And it's, again, that small little change. It came to my mind. I was like, I wonder if I change that video this way, the video I did ages ago, and it works. It's a very strange process. You've got to have thick skin. Enjoy the process, that's what it is.
The one that amuses me personally is like these podcasts. We'll spend an hour recording, I'll do all the editing, I'll do everything that goes around it, I'll release it. And then I'll put a 30-second blooper video out that'll do like 4 times the amount of the actual work of the podcast. But
yeah,
I want to touch back on that question though, because I want to dig into the negative aspect of this just a little bit. I don't want to make it a negative episode, but one of the things that I see a lot online, I'm on a slight social media detox at the minute. But one of the things that I did see online a lot was clickbait and misinformation, and sometimes little things like that. You'll get a video and someone will say, learner fails a driving test. And it's like, it's not a driving test. You're not allowed to film the driving test. It's a mock test. I get why you put in that, but it's misleading learners, because I'll have learners coming to me and saying, I've seen this driving test and, this kind of stuff. And then there'll be the misinformation out there and on videos, and it could be a misinformation around, you will fail if you do this on your test, that kind of stuff. I'm wondering how we find the balance of that, because that is often going to go viral because of the nature of it. People like that type of stuff. So I suppose my question there is, how do we make sure we're not veering into that territory? Is it just the idea of making sure we're sticking to the positive side.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of different ways you could try and circumnavigate the idea of the clickbait if it's not a fake title. As you said, like the driving test that's not a driving test. I suppose it's a case of each individual person questioning themselves. They look at what they've written and like, how much of this is true? Is the entire thing 100% truth? Is it 95% truth? For example, if I do like a funny comedy skit where I'm driving and I break a little bit and then me as my mom go, oh, Jesus, you know, that's like fake thing. It's not really real. We make jokes that your mums are usually a bit over the top with, you know, your driving, your speed, which again, it's technically not real, but it's not clickbait either. It's a tough one. We're in a day and age right now, especially with AI and everything that's going on, social media. There's just so many people, so many content creators. I remember counting on one hand the amount of YouTubers that had over 5 million subscribers. And now there are hundreds of people with 50 million subscribers I've never heard of before. Like, what? Who is this person? Is the most subscribed person this year? Never even seen a single video. So it's just so saturated right now. So that's why people usually will implement these ideas that will be a bit more clickbaity, try and get them viral. Probably in other spaces where it's not as damaging as something as road safety or as learning to drive, being safe on the roads and creating what's the right term? Having the base foundation knowledge of how to drive, how to hold your steering wheel, all these different things. This is where it starts to affect other people, probably where other topics don't. But altogether, I suppose, as we're all one, we're all in society, we're all humans, we're all connected. Yeah, there's probably all interlying. Oh my God, I'm trying to figure out the right way to answer it. What do you do in this situation? Got to be true to yourself and make sure you're posting content that you would love to see if you were scrolling yourself, and you wouldn't be upset at the idea if you've been misled, or it's not really true. If you did some research, it doesn't take that long to realize that this person that I've just watched is not true, is not real. A lot of people will post advice, for example. Like, you'll see a TikTok, you'll scroll up or a video, and it'll be some random person, guy or girl, going, look, this is what you should do when you've got a bad friendship. And it's like, who is this person? Like, they have no credentials. They have no... Same for me as well with First. I suppose I've got help with First Car and the people behind. But again, even then, how did the people know that the person that you're listening to is an expert in it? Has the right to say these things, is correct in their research, or if they've not just written something. I could start a page right now about how to handle housemates, because I've lived with loads of them in my life. They might not be the true tips, just what people post. Either it's for the viewer to look within and go, discern from it and go, I'll take 50% of that as truth, 50% as false. I think a lot of people take everything as 100% truth, when really right now in our day and age, we should be falling the opposite, where you shouldn't really be trusting anything fully with your heart, what you see online, just because of all those different factors, as I've just said. However, with ADIs, it's a different story. You have literally trained for years to be in the position when you're in, to have the area of expertise that you're now in and have that knowledge where you can post a video, a TikTok content, whatever it is, like, hey, this is what you should do when you're driving. And I'm pretty sure 100% of it will be truthful. You've been trained in that process. You know what you're talking about. You are an expert. If a doctor comes up on a TikTok, you're probably more likely to believe them. But even then, it's all a bit bonkers. And I think I've got a proper long answer to answer your question. Of basically, I suppose for ADIs and people listening, whoever's listening to your podcast, be true to yourself. Do your own, get it down. Make sure what you're saying is correct and truthful. And there are ways to be catching and engaging without having to lie, or lie is a very strong term, be it clickbaity, shall we say. There are ways to do it, especially for ADIs. If the content is them driving, there's infinite ways things can happen infinite things that can happen once you're learning to drive or when you're on the road. If you set a GoPro up and you're filming it, which is a lot of ADIs what they do, it'll be instant. It'll just be, unique content every single time. There's always a different meet. There's always a different situation on the road that you could never learn. As I presume you tell people, you learn so much more after you pass your driving test. Passing your driving test is it's the foundation. And nearly you probably didn't learn how to drive in snow, in heavy rain, in the winds we've just had in Stormdara, all that sort of stuff. You don't learn that until you're actually driving and you haven't got an instructor with you. So it's about, keeping on top of it all. I think that answers your question. That was ages ago. Sorry about that.
No, I love that answer. And I also love seeing how you worked out. And I think the key thing there was the idea of being true to yourself. I'll hold my hands up here and I'll be honest that I recently went back through my entire podcast archive and changed some of the titles of the episodes. Because looking back now, I'm like, oh, that doesn't sit well with me now, that one. I'm going to change that one. And some of them were just because they were really bad, just not very good. And others were like, yeah, that's a bit clickbait. But, even just what you kind of said at the end there, I like the way you phrase that, because one of my pet peeves is someone saying you learn to drive when you pass a test. And you said that slightly differently. You said you learn more about driving. You said something like that. You learn more about driving when you... Of course you do, because you're getting more experience. You're going to come across more scenarios. And I love that phrasing. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to mention that somewhere before I put this episode out. But let's move on to the social media then, because if ADIs in 2025 had the goal of sort of really diving into social media, where should they be going if they've got that kind of target demographic of maybe 17 to 24-year-olds?
For sure. TikTok for me would be number one. UK right now, at least last time I checked, hold the record for the most monthly users. We are number one in terms of most monthly users across the whole world. That includes USA and Russia as well. Russia's a big user of TikTok, which is crazy to think about in terms of we have 60 million people here, give or take, in the UK, whereas America has 360 and Russia has, loads. And we're still using it monthly on average, of all the ratios. So with that stat, instantly, we're like, your best bet is TikTok. And then, of course, if you're making short form content that is vertical, that can be also implemented into Instagram, which I've learned over the years, or at least what I've not necessarily learned, what I've seen is that it's so much harder now to grow on Instagram because it's so established and the hashtags and the way the system works. You have to get very lucky. I could argue that with TikTok, as much as I'm saying TikTok, it is a brutal game for social media content creators. There's just so much. It's just so many people now. Before there was only, as I say, there was 100 content creators, that was it, and they're all on YouTube. Now there's hundreds of thousands and they're everywhere. And there's also streamers who are making content. And then people will make content of that content and steal it and reaction clips. And there's just so much. So for an ADI right now, if they're thinking about it, which they absolutely should, and it's wicked, I'd say TikTok, Instagram, and your main goal shouldn't be to create viral content. In my eyes, it's to create lots of content that you enjoy, that you would like people to see, and put it out there and just hope it. And obviously, you'd like to hope that it gets viral and you get more people and more views and more followers and all that jazz. But just enjoy that process and keep going, keep posting. It didn't work, so be it. I've got all year to post even more, and just keep going and going and going. There's no deadline. And a lot of the biggest streamers now, YouTubers, content creators, started with, like everyone else, 0 views, and they get 5, and they get 10. And it's that same story. But they all started with posting so much and putting so much effort into knowing that they probably won't get viral, which I've had to learn. I always learn. I've learned the hard way a lot of times. I've made I spent so long. I spent 10 hours on like a 45-second video just because I want to get it right and perfect, and that doesn't work. And that classic story, post it, no views. Ha ha ha. Why do I do this? Why? And so it's one of those. But for sure, TikTok, as I said, UK smashes so many records for TikTok right now. It's quite interesting. It shouldn't really statistically, but it does. And then Instagram as well. And yeah, Facebook's not really the one for Gen Z, 16, 17, that age now. Don't really use it as much. I know that maybe for families and stuff like that, but not to like scroll per se. I know I've got some friends that sort of do it, and it's more of like they're an outlier, like scrolling on Facebook. Oh, okay, fair. All right. If you want to do that, for sure. And now we're having this weird game, just to bring it to a close, weird game where before I could send anyone a TikTok link and it'd be fine. Oh, I could view it. That's a funny video. Now you have to have a TikTok account. Same for X, Twitter, same for Instagram. Actually, yeah, same for Instagram, but I think nearly everyone has an Instagram. I have a couple of friends who don't have an Instagram. Fair play, I'm very jealous. And I'll send them a link that I can't see it. Can you screen grab it for me? I'm like, I want to send you a video. It's a whole mission now.
I'll tell you what, before we move on, I think I want to clarify one thing, because we've both used the word viral a couple of times. So there will be people out there that don't necessarily know what that means. Do you want to explain what you mean when you say something going viral?
Sure. So there's a lot of different sections of a video's views, engagements, videos, the video's views, the video's comments, and the video's likes, and the video's shares, and the video's bookmarks. There's all those different things. If you scroll on it, you can do any of those things. You could argue there's no guarantee, there's no set standards, but with 10,000 views, you could call that viral for someone. For someone who only gets 100 views, if you get 10,000 views, for that person, that is your viral hit. And then you might start getting 200 views per video, and it's just bumped you up a little bit. The algorithm will then trust you and your content. Like, oh, if these people liked it, then probably they'll like your other content. You'll push it a bit more. And it's like an exponential, the term, like a snowball effect, where the more views you get on a video, the next time, more likely, even though it's still like 0. However much percent, more likely that your video will get a little bit more viral next time, get a little bit more views. So in my head, if I see a video that gets 10,000 views, I will call that viral. Nowhere near like the Mr. Beast level. That is the worst performing video of his life ever. What's happened? But for me, I'm like, sweet, that's our most viral video of the week. Love that. And it's a case of naturally, as humans, as anything that goes on, your standards will just get a little bit bigger each time. If you start getting, if you get 100,000 views, 10,000 views will still be wicked. But like, oh yeah, it's not. Now that's small viral, and there's medium viral, and then there's major viral, which is it's always changing for whichever person. My viral might not be your viral. Your viral might not be, as I say, PewDiePie's viral, whoever it is, whichever content creator it is. So it's basically checking it in between with all your other videos and noticing, oh, this one got 10 more comments than any other video this week, this month. Okay, that's my viral video of the week.
And this is a part of the show where I usually give a shout out to the new sign-ups to the Instructor Premium. However, there haven't been any this last week, so instead, I'd like to thank you for listening. Even if you're not a part of the Instructor Premium membership, I'm still ridiculously grateful to you for listening, sharing, subscribing, and giving feedback. So thank you. It'd be pretty boring without you. But if you want to kickstart your CPD, there's currently a 33% discount available on the first month of your membership to the Instructor Podcast Premium. And as soon as you sign up, you'll have immediate access to hundreds of hours of video, audio, and written training. So whether you're looking to grow your business, become a better driving instructor, or get some help looking after your mental health and mindset, sign up to the Instructor Podcast Premium. To find out more, use a link in the show notes or head to theinstructorpodcast.com. But I also want to take a moment to thank My Drive Time for being sponsors of Season 9 of the Instructor Podcast. My Drive Time currently offer a 30-day free trial, and with that you get access to all of their features. So to find out more, head over to mydrivetime.co.uk, and this comes with my seal of approval. But for now, let's get stuck back into the show. It's interesting because it's only something I kind of learned recently, was that when we talk about something going viral, it's for the individual, isn't it? It's not like you said, Mr. Beast, I've never seen him, by the way, but the YouTube dude. Nothing I do will compare to anything he does in terms of numbers, but it's still viral to me. And I think that we have to celebrate that. But
absolutely, yeah, take your wins. It's again, because it's such a long process to get to the point where you want to be. I presume everyone who wants to create content wants to get to that point where they're getting hundreds of thousands, let's call it, not even millions, hundreds of thousands of views, hundreds of thousands of comments, likes. But to get to that point, you just enjoy the process. I keep saying that. It's in the process, because you won't get there straight away. If you go in there wanting it straight away, you will not get it for a considerable amount of time. And it will start degrading you, make you feel a bit worse, and it will challenge your resilience a bit. It will be like, what's wrong with me? Why doesn't everybody like this video? And really, it's nothing about that. It's about just that time you were unlucky and the video does not work. But it's not that your content's bad, it just did not work that time. And then those small steps, as I said, that Kaizen approach, small implemental steps, just a little bit better, enjoy it a little bit more. And all that time, like you look at your catalog, and you've made 300 videos in the past 2 years, whatever it is. You go, sweet, I love that. Not one time did I make a video I didn't want to make, or a video I didn't like that I had, but I just posted anyway.
I think that I want to ask you though, and I'm trying to word this right, do you think there's a difference between a driving instructor who creates a bit of social media and a content creator?
Ooh, for sure. I think if you're a driving instructor who creates a bit of social media content, I presume you don't really hold that much weight to the idea of becoming viral and having a big following, getting lots of followers, or maybe creating revenue from that. And it's usually a big thing. We're all paying rent, or mortgage, whatever it is. You're trying to get some sort of way to help revenue, bump up the revenue. So as a driving instructor, I presume some people's intentions would be to hopefully get more bookings from your videos. So if you're a driving instructor who posts on social media, you probably don't really necessarily care about that. You just want videos out there. It could be more of like a memory bank, just cool videos that could send to your family or to your own students per se. And I just check my page out and I'm just posting videos there. But if you are, then to answer your question, to a content creator, driving instructor who posts content to a content creator who happens to be a driving instructor, that's when you're in the thick of it, as KSI would say to a reviewer that know that, in the thick of it, where you are constantly checking your views, constantly checking your comments and engaging a lot more and thinking about what your next video will be, how you're going to push yourself and what will be creative this time, what content can I do this time. If you start properly thinking about it in that sort of way, that's where you start becoming more of a that's that content creator aspect of it, where it's trying to push yourself and be better. Again, Mr. Beast is a great example of that, because I think too much of anything is bad. And Mr. Beast, he says in his own podcast, his own stuff, he likes to put out a lot of information about how he became the biggest, most subscribed, most viewed, most followed video person ever. He has an incessant need to better himself. He wants to check everything and make sure everything if it could be the best, let's make sure it's the best. And it's that sort of level. It's like a passion sort of thing, level as well. If you're a driving instructor who likes to post social media, clearly your passion is in being a driving instructor. But if you want to be a content creator and get viral, then slowly but surely your passion will be into that, the creative aspect of it all, to obviously, end of the day, to get more engagement, be more viral, get more followers.
I want to touch back as well, because we spoke a little bit about Instagram and YouTube and stuff there, but obviously TikTok, you said, would be the main go-to. Do you think that anyone that's starting off on TikTok should be looking to repurpose stuff? So you make a video for TikTok, then you just chuck it on Instagram as well, then you just chuck it on YouTube Shorts or whatever, or should it just be the sole focus TikTok to begin with, and then maybe expand as you go?
It depends on how far you want to go into the space. To relate back to your last question, if you want to be a driving instructor that posts a bit on social media, it would be much more easier, less stress if you're just focusing on one channel. When you start implementing other channels, which I easily could recommend if you want to boost your chances of being viral, the biggest way to increase your chances of being viral is posting more content. A lot of people always advise you should be posting 3 to 5 times a day on TikTok. That's what they would say, because you just got to keep posting, because otherwise, if you post once a week, that's only one chance you'll get that week to become viral, and most likely you won't, because that's just the way it works. So if you're posting, let's say you've made one video, you've created it, you've got the file, you upload it to TikTok, and then upload it to YouTube, and then upload it to Instagram. Snapchat's another one as well. I used to be on Snapchat all the time. I was part of that big growth, that big time when he made the world's youngest billionaire at that point, the guy who created it. I was part of that wave. They created one update, which turned me off it completely. I didn't install it, just never used it since. But I think a lot of people, including my younger sisters and all their friends, they still use Snapchat a lot, and they love streaks a lot. So something I forget to mention, maybe now I get to mention in a podcast, Snapchat might be it's a dark horse in the social media space. There's a lot of stuff going on in Snapchat that I'm not really aware of. And I'll go on it now and then, and it'll be stories of companies I don't even follow. But instead of like scrolling, how you scroll on TikTok, it's tapping. Like, how you tap on stories, you tap to go on to the next bit. And that's how you sort of view content on Snapchat. You're more of a tapper, like it's people's stories. That's a potential another place that, might be an open market there. How do you work that? How do you get into other people's pages? I don't necessarily know how that works. But yeah, if you want to get really big and create a massive following and have an online presence, for sure, posting everywhere will only help your chances. And then you could switch it up and have different captions as well. Again, that little Kaizen approach, I bring it back to small implements. Maybe it was the hashtags I used for that video that needs to be a bit changed at this time. There's just so many different aspects for one particular piece of content that could change it to make it either the most engaging video ever or just not hit anything. And so, yeah,
how important are hashtags?
Here we go. So I should have this at the start. As much as I've found fair success from TikTok and creating road safety videos, I cannot tell you why a particular video goes viral. I could give you reasons potentially why. My most viral video this year has 0 hashtags. What? That just breaks all that, for me, my own rules. That just breaks everything. When that happened, I think that might have been, again, a potential detriment, because now I post a lot of videos where they don't have any hashtags, but then they don't go viral. So everybody's like, but it went viral before, so it has to go viral now. It's the only way it works, right? As I said before, it's a tough game. You'll learn lessons that aren't necessarily lessons, and then it boils down to look and engaging content and just be in the right place at the right time. Hashtags probably do matter. And then another time, as I said, in my most viral video, it didn't matter. So it must have been the content, it must have been the title, it must have been something else. So it all depends, which is wicked in terms of if you wait however many months, 6 months, even longer, you'll have all those videos you posted ages ago. You can now repost, probably put a different filter on it if the algorithm sometimes checks if it's the same video being posted before. But if you then change the caption or change just the title or change just the hashtags of that video that you posted 6, 7, 8 months ago, boom, that's happened to me a couple of times. Video I posted, nothing, same exact video, not even changing the filter, just different caption, different time, more of like I need to upload something, let me just post this one. My other videos took too long to edit. And then boom, it gets so viral. I'm like, but I've already posted you. Again, that whole story of like, this is the video that's gone viral this time? Okay, sweet, thank you.
I know when I dabbled in TikTok a little bit, and I'm not anymore, but there was a video I put up where I made a joke. I think it was about Shrek, and I'd put it out as like a bit of a blooper video, and I'd put the Shrek hashtag, and it did well. And I suddenly realized I think I've got loads of people that sent it by because of Shrek and nothing to do with driving instructor. Oh crap! Now I've got this whole different audience that are now looking at a driving instructor's videos. But I want to come back to the length a little bit of the videos because I know TikTok you can now post longer videos as well.
Yeah.
What sort of length do you think we should be aiming for? Does it matter?
TikTok like to say it matters. They've recently just pushed. They'll push your video more if it's 1 minute and landscape. So not even vertical. They're pushing for 1 minute videos longer than that are like YouTube videos basically, where a little full screen button will come up at the bottom, and they want to engage viewers enough where they press that full screen and then they watch the video of more than basically, as I said, it's not really a TikTok at that point. What is a TikTok? It used to be just like how Vine was. I remember Vine back in the day. It was 7 seconds only, and because of that, it forced people to be as funny or as engaging as they possibly can in 7 seconds. TikTok obviously has overpassed that by an incredible amount. And then it used to be, they used to have a limit of 15. I don't know what their limits were actually. They've been progressing longer and longer and longer. And they changed the meta, the algorithm as they call it, to boost particular videos for a certain reason. Recently, it's been make your videos 1 minute long plus, and also landscape at the same time as well. But I've tried that a couple of times. Didn't work for me. So it's tough. It's hard. There's no definite answer. TikTok themselves will give you an answer, and it just won't be the case. YouTubers online will give you lots. It's about, for me, for being here in the space long enough now, taking as much information as you can, try and retain it all, and then implement all those different pieces for all these different contents just to see if it works. The same video that you've just made, that's 30 seconds, that's vertical only. You could make it again later on down the line, that's 1 minute long and landscape. It's the same video, the same content, maybe obviously double in length. And either of one of those could go viral. As I say, a lot of it's based on luck and getting the right people at the right time. There is no guaranteed sweet spot. Some of the most viral videos I've seen are 10 seconds on TikTok. Some of them I've been hooked on a 3-minute video on TikTok. What's going, it all depends. It's just that content worked for that right person, that right time. It depends. For example, for an ADI, maybe if your topic is so broad and so many underlying features of it, maybe a longer video does work. If you want to focus on just the right times to check your blind spots, you could make that video both long and short form. It could be just here, these moments, like a list. Like when to check your blind spots, when you're turning, when you do this, that, done. 30 seconds, not even. Or you could give them proper examples. Like when I'm in this space, make sure you do it like this. And the video is just a bit longer now. Maybe you could add a bit more jokes into it in between or stories. And as I said before, so many different little creative switches that can make or break a video. And yes, there's a sweet spot point. I'm not a massive expert in that. I wish I was. Bloody hell, don't we all? Don't we all just wish? I could tell you right now, it's 33 seconds. Don't go over. And then boom, it'll be viral definitely for sure. No one really knows until you get to a point. I mentioned that snowball before, where you get so big, the algorithm knows, TikTok knows that your content is safe enough to be pushed lots, and you'll get a lot more comments and a lot more engagement. Where just like that, you don't even really have to properly think about it. And you're going to become, viral to the point, as I said before, people will get 100,000 views. For them, at one point, if they're so successful, that might not be that viral for them anymore, which is crazy to think about. Again, like more money, more problems, more views, more problems, where Mr. Beast got like 10 million views in the first 12 hours of one of these videos or something like this. I remember reading this, and for him, it was way too, it's like, what? This is underperforming so much. 10 million views in a certain amount of time was like a red flag for them. Like, what's this? Why is this video doing so poorly? Where we would, not kill for it, but we would kill for that. we would love that. 10 million views, come on.
I'm still talking about more money, more problems. But I saw the episode of The Office today with that line in it. So
wicked.
All right, so I come to you as a driving instructor who has never created a TikTok account, video, anything before.
Yeah.
And I say to you, Keenan, where do I start? What do you say to me?
Nice. It would be a case of you need if you've got your phone, so you've already got a camera. I've used every single one of my TikToks that I've ever made. It's been on this same phone that I've got. I've got a Pixel 5, and it's quite an old phone now. I'm thinking about upgrading it because the new Pixel 9 has the back camera or the front camera has got more megapixels than my back camera now. So I saw that. I was like, bloody hell, what am I doing? But again, it doesn't necessarily matter. Some of the most viral videos ever have been on the worst quality cameras. So you'll need a camera. You'll need to then decide, what do you want to film? Are you comfortable on camera? Do you like to present? I suppose as an ADI, most likely you're okay with your public speaking, even if it's just one person in your car. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that as well. You could film all your content in your room and then just have footage that you filmed from your car, separately, or footage that you find online. So it'd be a case of asking yourself, what sort of content creator do you want to be? Definitely. Oh, here you go. Let me answer your question, actually. How about that? Let me try that. Download the app. There you go. We'll start with that. Create an account. Make it your own, like if it would be your own account. So if it's your driving instructor company, or if it's your name, ADI at the end, or however you want to do it, make it already brand it a bit. You could add official or something like that, something cool, something that people can remember. You have to upload your profile pic and that sort of stuff. And then don't post anything first. Just scroll on TikTok, get an idea of what TikTok is. Because most likely if you're an ADI, you're at a certain age, maybe you've never, as you said, you haven't got TikTok. You have no idea how it works. You can't post on something you don't really know how it works. So scroll, let that algorithm know what you like. What I've learned, at least what I learned back when I first started, is that you want to let the algorithm know what content you like, which will be the content that you'll post. So for the longest time, I only liked driving, road safety content, anything to do with cars, anything to do with mechanics, anything to do with that sort of space. For the longest time, talking about like 2.5 years, that's all the content I liked. Recently, I started to subvert that and start liking content that I think my audience likes as well, like funny memes and news and British stuff like that, because I'm, trying to get the demographic. And if they're liking those videos and I like them, I think the idea was the algorithm will put them together. Is that the case now? No, the algorithm's had like 3-4 updates at this point. So that's a whole other aspect that you could start researching in, is what's this new this new TikTok algorithm that's going on, because they'll update it after a certain period of time and it'll be something different. As I said, they now push 1-minute landscape videos, whereas before you couldn't even do 1-minute videos. So it's all a bit different. So yeah, scroll. Initially, when you use TikTok, you won't like it. I think you'll be like, what is this? People dancing, maybe a funny animal video here or there. But the algorithm is learning so much about you. It is crazy. We're in that future now where it will know how long you looked at a video. When you scroll past it, it will remember that. If you liked it, if you open the comments as some sort of engagement, you didn't comment on anything, but they'll, you open the comments, you want to see what people are thinking about this topic. And the algorithm is learning so much for you that you give it an hour or two over a course of how many days, and all of a sudden you'll scroll an hour or two instantly without even realizing it. There's a nice little period of TikTok usage where you'll be like, oh my God, I went on this at 5 p.m. It is now 7. Whoa. Everybody calm down. And that's what the algorithm's designed for. It's really good to just make your brain go, ooh, content. Ooh, piece of content. Ooh, piece of content. So use it, understand what people are doing, and start searching for ADIs. There's a lot of good people, I don't want to name some and not all of them. There are so many really great content creators for ADIs, for driving instructors. And I'm a bit jealous of them because they create some really good stuff. They've got all the GoPros, they film their cars, and it's natural content. Whereas for me in road safety, it's more of presentery. I'm making the scene myself. There's words that come on as screens. That's another way as well to think about what your content, what you want it to be. My biggest advice is try and do stuff that you've not seen in the space. You can look at all the driving instructors on TikTok, see what they're posting, ask yourself, what can I do that'll be, with that Kaizen approach, just a little bit different? Why can I do that? What can I bring to the table that none of the other driving instructors can? Have you got talents in other places, other areas? Is this your first job? Are you also really good with, I don't know, you're a comedian, you're really funny, maybe add some jokes into it. Are you creative? Can you draw things? Maybe it's a case of you draw the scenarios that you could potentially be in. If you're that, if it's, I don't know, it could be to do with money. You could do a lot of stats based on, driving. It's all these different things. How can you include your hobby into your work? For example, as an actor, I made a lot of skits where I could act as these certain people to implement road safety things. Like, what should you do in this? And they'll give an example of me like driving silly because I can act. So I'd like to do that. That was the way I could do it. So again, figuring out what you enjoy doing, figuring out what you could do that other people don't. Try and push that a little bit. You want to separate yourself because, as I said, there's so many people, so much content. Just make it a bit more special for you and enjoy that aspect of it as well. Be like, oh yeah, look, I'm doing it this way, but people haven't done before. Maybe you can speak 2 languages and you start making videos in a different language or whatever it is. And after a while of scrolling TikTok, understanding how the algorithm works, realizing that, how you scroll, like something, get into grips with that. Then it's a case of, okay, what content do I want to create? Find a topic, do that. You can either do that thing where spend half an hour, an hour just writing video topics that you enjoy, or copying video titles or topics, at least, not just what they were from what you've just scrolled on from these. Oh, they made a topic on this, made a topic on that. You probably have, as an ADI, loads of folders or books or research that you've had to take on to become one that just sitting there in your house. I don't necessarily know. You can answer that for me in a sec. You probably have loads of resources already at your helm, which I didn't even have when I started, where you can be like, if I read this book, you could pick that paragraph, any paragraph, like, oh, can I make that into video content? If it is, how to teach help, reverse park it into a bay park. And just like that, you can have so many different ways you can make that content. You just have the video topic there. And then asking yourself, as I said before, how am I going to implement this differently? Is it a camera in my room? Is it a camera in the car? Is it a bit of both? You probably want to get a tripod, something to hold your camera in place. That's where you start investing a bit as well. Classic, any business, you're going to have to spend money, to make some, that's what it's going to be. You probably have to put a bit more money in. Then you can ask yourself, then you start thinking about lighting and microphones. You can just Google online, like best things to do. It's a case of Googling, classic. Just Google, what is the best content creator startup setup gear that I need? And it'll give you lists. You can find the cheapest ones if you want to spend a bit more. It's always important to have good audio. Visuals is not as bad. Like you can have a bad camera, but if you have bad audio, that's when it starts to get a bit, because people, if they can't really hear you or understand you. I have issues with speaking way too quick, which maybe your listeners have understood during this podcast, where I go, and I'll watch my video back. I'm like, what am I saying? I even said it. I don't know what I'm saying. So it's about, being slow in your speech so people can understand you, be clear and concise, not necessarily matter if you're 480p. In some ways, that might be, there you go, here's an idea. You know how like used to say the meme of like, it's been filmed on a potato, where the quality was so bad. It's like, what is this going on? Maybe there's a way where all your visually should really poor quality. It still sounds great. And that's that eye engaging thing. Be like, what's this? We're learning how to drive back in 2003. Just like that. It could be your thing. That could be your little funny thing. You've got a really bad camera recorder. You never know. There's so many different aspects that you could change and switch up. But yeah, it would be that. Download the app, figure out how it works. Start asking yourself what content you'd like to create. Do you like to be on camera? If you don't, that's absolutely fine. Some of the biggest content creators you don't even never see their face. So a nice voice. You could potentially pay for someone as well. It depends how much far you want to go to be a narrator. We're getting to proper content creator level, not just a driver instructor who wants to make content. And definitely for your first 10, 15 videos, do not care when they not if they go viral or not. Don't even think they will. Don't even go, potentially. I know you will naturally, even if I say that, naturally, I still have that where I'm like, this might be the one, and it won't. I'll go, ooh. But definitely before it'd be, oh my God, this is definitely the one, and it won't. And I'm in my bed like, everything's wrong. It's about managing expectations. Enjoy that process, because you went from never posting a video to posting 10. Now you have a page where you have 10 videos. And just like that, you've learned so much. Just like how you learn to drive. The first lesson, you're in a car driving. Like people will ask me that, like, what do you do in your first lesson? Like, you will drive a car. What? I've never sat in the driver's seat. Just like posting content, all of a sudden you're posting videos. Usually TikTok will boost your first one. That's what they did for us, which really helped us gain traction for our next couple. I've realized recently that might not be the case, it's jarring, I'd say, because it was that nice boost at the start, which is what they would do. They'd make you feel good about the app, which then would keep you in. It's a bit one of those, subconscious, like, oh, wow, the first video did well. And then it's like chasing that first engagement. And it does work for a lot of people. But recently I've realized that might not be the case, which is it's a tough one. So it's even a case, just manage your expectations from day one. Post the content. It might not work. Send it to your other friends. Check what other ADIs are saying. Change to people like, what do you think? This is when you have to start getting tough skin. If you're creating content and it's open to the public, people can comment anything, and you have to be ready for that. I made a really good video that I enjoyed, got really viral. So many comments about my hair and how much hair gel I used that day. I was like, okay, didn't even think about it. And I think for some people who don't have thick skin, that could really be like, I'm never posting a video ever again then. I'm always going to wear a hat. Why are they commenting on my hair? Again, 5 comments out of 100 because there's 5 there. I'm mentioning it to you now on an Instructor podcast. I'm like, yeah, this back when 3 years ago, I'm still not over it. Got to have that thick skin to be okay that you might make content. Most likely you make content that doesn't get viral initially. And that's okay. What do you learn from that? Grow from it.
Well, what I will say is that I think this is the least I've ever spoken on a podcast. And I've interviewed Bob Morton and Ray Seagrave. So there you go. But
great. This is the most I've spoken on a podcast as well. God.
I'm glad you mentioned that about the comments, though, because I was going to ask you about that, because I get a lot of stick sometimes. Not as much as I used to, admittedly, but I get a lot of stick. One of my favourite ones was actually before I did all the podcast stuff. Someone commented on a picture once saying, look at the size of his forehead. I'm like, I ain't got a big forehead. I'm just bald. That's my head. That's where it goes.
Different. Yeah, you're not even insulting me right. I'm more insulted that you thought you could insult me like that.
Yeah, very weird. But how would you advise people manage that? Because it can be a really toxic environment, especially if you say something not necessarily controversial, but goes against the norm, shall we say?
Yeah. How do you manage it? It's a case of living through it and coping with it and realizing it's going to happen. Maybe before it does. Maybe if it can catch you off guard. Again, the hair gel thing. Again, this is a video so long ago. Doesn't even really matter. But I just remember it coming up and my first proper experience of like not hates but trolling something about my character. I was like, oh wow, this is it. This is what people who are in the space who get so many comments probably get on the regular and hear people comment about it. And it was one of those like, haha, okay, it's funny, got to laugh at it. It was one of those. Luckily now with TikTok, a lot of I presume Instagram as well, you can highlight comments, you can delete them. You can, if it comes to that point. But to be honest with you, here's another thing as well to answer your question, what should you do? Any engagement, if it's any comment, even if it's at the detriment to the video, especially in road safety, the amount of times I've had your fun at parties, like, it's just a video helping people to be safe on the roads. And these people that have enough energy to not only score on a video, not like it, but then go, I need to comment that I don't like it. And not only that I don't like it, but come for the person that's done it. I can make a video like, hey, look, make sure you stay safe with the people on the road. And someone go, what are you wearing, bro? What are you it's got nothing to do with the video. It's a case of I will still reply to those comments. I will still keep them up and I'll still engage. And at that point, if I ask them a question, they might comment again and engage again. And for TikTok and the algorithm, that's another comment. The algorithm doesn't necessarily know if the comment's good or bad. Obviously, if there's certain words that are banned, it will know it or delete or ask you if you want to approve it or not. But even those comments that might be a bit negative on your content, if it's not brutal, you'll ask yourself, you'll know if you want to delete it or not. But if you can handle it and you can reply to a comment like, hey, what do you mean by that? Or sort of go, be like, but how did you get that from this video? Or like, oh, at least you drive safely though, right? Something like that, engage that content. Make that person who already wanted to comment on your video, again, that's engagement. Get them to comment again. Get them to start that combo. Usually as well, people will come to, at least when people are chatting rubbish, so now and then people will come to my defense. And actually, what he's talking about is really true. Like, my dad had a car crash because of this. So it's actually really important. And then those two will start having a conversation. And the next thing you know, there's other engagement, other content. Try your best to reply to every comment. There is a big tip for you there. Reply to as many comments as you possibly can. Keep that engagement going. Start conversations with with your following, which is another aspect, actually. God, another thing. We have 50,000 followers. My videos won't get 50,000 views. Like, it's a weird case of everyone uses the For You page, or on Instagram it is, if you're scrolling, next thing you know, you'll just be scrolling for people you don't even follow. So it's a case of you want to build a following, but you won't have like necessarily the same followers, the same viewers each video. Not even necessarily. Most guaranteed you won't. Most guaranteed the people who view this video today were not the people who viewed your video last time. So it's just engaging with people and being friends with each individual comment on the day, on the video, whatever it is.
I want to finish by asking you about your algorithm, because I think you've touched on it before, but I'm going to kind of explain mine. Now, I've been on a little bit of a social detox. I'm slightly nervous about going back, but I've managed to really curate my TikTok algorithm so that my feed is basically dogs, WWE wrestling, and the Tom Holland lip sync battle video. That's the three things I get sent.
The Rihanna Under My Umbrella one.
Yes, which it does something to my brain. That's all I'll say. What's your feed like?
My feed, question. So, I'll go through, I'll do a quick go through now, see if anything interesting. I think I'm getting a lot more memes than I used to. It'd be every third, fourth video, it'd be something to do with roads or cars. So currently it's like a trend that's going on. Here we got someone on the road with a bike. Here we got, again, no one that I follow, none of these people that I follow, all the For You page, and everything that I follow. There's an ad, classic. There's a live, classic. It's off to a Christmas right now. So there's obviously reoccurring trends that happen. If you're really on it and you want to be a proper content creator, it's, as I said at the start, scroll TikTok, see what trends are going on, and see if you can implement those trends with driving. There's one right now where it's a picture of a Muppet, as in the Muppets, Yeah. Just this random Muppet, no. And it's literally the same picture, but it's a slideshow, and each picture has like a sentence about like this really horrific story that's going on. This meme right now, this trend, has got me hot so much. It's just one song. It's from the Deadpool and Wolverine film. Again, it's it's a trending song with a trending topic. All of a sudden, people realize that works. And you're just basically reading someone's story and how horrific it gets and how horrible it gets. Instantly like that, if you're an ADI or as a road safety person, I suppose actually more likely for an ADI, you probably have a horrific story of like teaching someone to drive, or this crash happened, or when you were learning, something like that. You could make the content based on that meme, where it's the same picture. You just write a bit, I'll tell you this story about this one person's learned to drive. Next slide. And just like that, you've now created a trending piece of content, the stuff that's going on. There's trending sounds, there's trending hashtags, there's trending memes in general. It can even combine all of those together to make, as I say, to implement in a potential video that you're already thinking about as well. So it's like, as I say, I keep repeating myself. So many different aspects should be taken from. You could make all your content based on just memes and trending memes that are going on right now. I've got never see your face. It's just what's going viral. You could do a combination of both. I find myself very rarely following trends and wanting to make my own. That doesn't really work. I'm not really making anything that's that can go viral, trendy like that. But try and make mine original as possible. But usually the content that gets really viral is content that's sort of riding the coattails of what's being viral already, and copying it and putting your own twist on it.
Mate, I've loved this conversation. You want to take a second to remind or tell people where they can find you if they want more Keenan goodness?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. So yeah, I'm on TikTok. It's at First Car UK. We make loads of road safety content. As I said, take all my advice with a grain of salt as well. I give you all that stuff. You could follow it. You could easily not follow it and create a viral video as well. It is all up in the air. It is a bonkers game. It is a lot of fun, especially when you start getting that engagement you want to do and you're speaking to people and you're in that space. Yeah, so TikTok, First Car UK. Give us a follow. Give us a comment. Let us know that you listen to the podcast. That would be cool if we see one of those. And yeah, enjoy the time. Don't hold too much pressure on yourself when it doesn't go viral, because it won't. I'll say that to everyone. It just most definitely won't initially. And it's keep going, have fun, enjoy the ride. And yeah, it's a great game. It's fun. It's lovely. It's a lovely time.
I'm not quite sure I got your enthusiasm for it, but I'm close.
Nice.
But no, I do just want to finish just by saying, big thank you for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much, Harry. I really appreciate it. Lots of fun. I didn't ask you as many questions as I thought I would, actually. I remember I kept going, I'll ask you that in a second. And then I went off on my own tangents. I wanted to ask you about your content. But no, I've had a great time. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I hopefully someone gets something from this for yourself as well. But yeah, it's really cool, actually. I appreciate it loads.
So a big thank you for Keenan for joining me today. I loved this episode, and I don't normally say this. I usually keep thoughts like this to myself, but that's one of the episodes that I most enjoyed recording ever. And I think the reason why, when I listen back, was the passion in Keenan's voice. You can hear that he loves what he does, and that doesn't always come across. I think sometimes, and I mean no disrespect to anyone when I say this, but we speak to the educators, we speak to the academics, it's very formal. And I like that. I really do. But you can see Keenan just cares. He gets it. He knows what he wants and he knows what to do and he loves talking about it. So I really enjoyed this. And there's a wealth of tips in there. An absolute wealth of tips. I talk about this a lot, but listen and listen again. You definitely need to listen to this episode again. So if you're listening in a car, get a pen and paper out when you get home and make some notes. But I also want to take a moment to thank all the other guests from this season. That's Dan Hill, Nick Smith, Pascal Poppins, Josh Holleran, Vicky Holland, and Dr. Nick Reed. As well as the 7 trainers that appeared on that special episode I did, talking about who should you take on the standards check. I've really enjoyed creating this technology season. It's a bit out of my comfort zone. It's something that I'm not always great talking about, but maybe that's made it better because I'm coming in from a bit more of a blank canvas perspective. So I hope you've enjoyed it too. Feedback is always welcome. And I will just say that we are going to be back in the new year. We're back in 2025, a brand new season. But until then, we'll be releasing some bonus content as well as the green rooms. And we've got another very special green room coming up at the end of December. We'll be reviewing the year with Chris Benstead, Stuart Lockery, and Tom Stenson. I also want to take a moment to thank My Drive Time. You'll have heard me banging on about My Drive Time over the last couple of months because they are sponsoring Season 9. And whilst they produce an amazing product and ridiculously reliable product, I should add onto that, with some great features, I'm also just chuffed that they've sponsored the show. I've spoke about this quite a lot, and we have Bright Coaching sponsored Season 8. We've got My Drive Time sponsoring this Season 9. And it makes it so much easier for me. It makes my life easier. It makes me able to create better content for you guys and better shows for you guys. So I'm eternally grateful for them. So if I leave you with one favour at the end of Season 9, it's go and check out mydrivetime.co.uk. I'm not asking you to sign up. That's your choice. I'm asking you to have a look. Do that as a favour for me. But of course, I'm going to ask you for one more favour, and that's go and check out the Instructor Podcast Premium. We have got a wealth of content with some amazing stuff. and some amazing stuff come up. We're already getting well planned into the new year. I don't need to tell you what it is. You can go find out yourself. There's links in the show notes, or you can head to the website, theinstructorpodcast.com. When you go over there, you'll see details for the £10 tier and the £22 tier. Go and see which one takes your fancy. There's currently a 33% discount on both, or you can get a week's free trial on the £10 tier, or you can get a 16% discount off an annual membership. So there's loads of choices for you there. Probably too many. Maybe that's what I need to change. But either way, theinstructorpodcast.com. All that's left for me is to say thank you for listening, whether this is your first time or you've been listening for day one. Thank you for listening, and I hope you all have a cracking end to the year, and I hope you have a smashing 2025. But for now, let's just keep raising standards.
The Instructor Podcast with Terry Cook, talking with leaders, innovators, experts and game changers about what drives them.